Our judicial system is again showing favoritism to the elite, especially in Chicago. On this episode of the Latino Conservative. So in case you haven't found out by now, if you haven't heard by now, Jussie Smollett has been found guilty of a felony hoaxing a hate crime. 2 hate crimes, actually. In fact, the total was 5 total counts of felonies, basically, is what he got found guilty of. Each one of those should have had a 1 to 3 year sentence on those. Just keep that in mind. That'll play a role in what we talk about here in just a little bit. But he was found guilty of a felony. He hoaxed a homophobic hate crime and a racial hate crime. Jussie Smollett, in case you didn't know, also was a star of the show Empire. He was up and coming. He was a pretty good actor. I got to give it to him. Pretty good actor. And he did a great acting job during his hoax as well. He was found guilty. Now the judge comes out and says during sentencing that each one of those charges, 5, should have a minimum of 1 to 3 years of a sentence. Plus, he could have also been fined, ordered to pay restitution, probation, all that other stuff on there. Quite frankly, had that been one of us regular people, you and me, we would probably served the full 15 years, paid full restitution, and been on probation for 30 months is what he said that the minimum was. That would have been us. But Jussie Smollett, he's an actor. He's a black actor and he's a gay actor. And again, I'm going to disclaimer this and say I have nothing against any of those life choices at all, or race or whatever. If you know me, you know. And that's all I'll say about that. But he fits the profile. He's got money, he's famous, and he's part of a protected community. I'll put it that way. He got 160 days in jail. That was his sentence. That was his sentence for 5 felony counts. Now, we know that had that been one of us, we would have been in there. 5 terms of 3 years for 15 years. Whether those run concurrent, separate, I don't know, not my call, but we would have had that full sentence. Now, when you go listen to the actual sentencing, the judge does a pretty good job. At one point in time, he actually starts praising Jussie for the work he's done for social liberties and social justices and such like that. He did that during court. He started asking questions, though, like, how did you get here? Why did you get here? Starts bringing up questions like that, and then starts praising his family, his background, everything during his sentencing trial, saying that he has to take those into consideration when sentencing. How does that matter? A judge, quite literally, is supposed to interpret the law and enforce the law. They don't make the law. That is the full concept, the full job description of a judge. Interpret the law and enforce the law. And in fact, 2 Supreme Court nominees recently just said that. Judge Amy Coney Barrett and Judge Brown Jackson. They both reiterated that they are there to interpret the law and enforce the law, not to make the law. That is not the point of a judicial branch. So he gives them 160 days for 5 felony counts. It's kind of some BS if you ask me. I will take this time, actually, since he mentioned green card. Somebody on my TikTok over here that you don't see, I've got it live over here, mentioned green card. Let me show you this green card right here. And if this shows up on the green screen, I do apologize, but I have a green card right here. It's a Chime green card. Great. Thank you for the segue, by the way, Mr. TikTok man. But one of my affiliates that I have is Chime. Chime is a great tool. You can use it for your direct deposit if you don't have a brick and mortar bank. You get a debit card and you can get a secure credit card with that as well. That works off a direct deposit. Whatever you direct deposit into your bank, to Chime, I should say, you get that as your credit limit. And then when your direct deposit comes back in on your next paycheck, you don't have to worry about it paying the credit card bill, because it does it automatically. And guess what? By clicking that link down in my description, both you and I can get $100 off of that. So go check it out. Description's in the bio. Get your Chime secure credit card and set up your direct deposit for that. Okay, so let's get back into the story. So after the 160 days was sentenced, Jussie went to jail. And, he's the guy that says, I'm not suicidal. That's not me. I'm not suicidal. He said that. Okay, whatever. Putting on a show again. But 6 days later, he is out of jail. Out of a federal penitentiary with 5 felony counts. Okay, can you see my eyeballs rolling from back over there? But the premise was his lawyers filed an appeal. The appeals process takes some time, over 75 days actually. And the minimum sentence, evidently in Chicago, for a 160-day sentence is 75 days. Apparently good behavior and whatnot. And I don't doubt that he would have been good and whatnot. I don't doubt that at all. But he served 6 days. His lawyer filed an appeal, and he was out within 6 days. Sentenced to 160, out in 6 days. How does that bode to be fair? It doesn't. Remember though, he's elite, he's got money, and he's part of a protected demographic. They could do that. The reason why he was let out was not because he won the appeal, because the appeal is going to take longer than the 75 days to go through, because you've got your court dates, you've got your discovery phase of that again, you got to go find evidence again, examine evidence, make sure everything's done right. Not to mention, this is Chicago, where the crime rate is outstandingly high, and there is, I'm sure, a docket list 5 miles long. But he got out 6 days later because the appeals process would take longer, and the judge said, since it would take so long, we're going to go ahead and let you out now. So what kind of precedence does that say? Does that set for the rest of the community in Chicago? What kind of precedence does that set for the country? Because this guy didn't affect one person. This wasn't a victimless crime that he did. He infected the entire country. And I say infected, not affected. He infected the country with that virus known as division. He infected the entire country with that. You had mainstream media there waiting, chomping at the bit for some little morsel to drop that they can devour. You had political representatives waiting in line to draw up some legislation to represent him, but then they found him guilty. So what does that do for the rest of the country? I mean, it was almost as bad as setting fires and looting and rioting because of that, because of what he faked. I mean, I guess we could technically say he was doing his job. He was acting. But when you act in a case like that affects everybody in the country, you need to serve some time. Whatever happened to that statement that people on the left would say, and it was primarily people on the left that would say, because I know them. I know a lot of them that say this. If you falsely accuse somebody of a crime, you should be held to the same penalties as the crime you falsely accused of. And I'm not going to say the actual crime that they mentioned, but it's the same concept, You've heard it before. It's like if somebody gets ordered to pay child support for a kid that's not theirs, you know what's not going to happen? If they find out the kid isn't theirs later on, they're not going to get that money back. That person is permanently punished for something he didn't do. But Jussie did this. He permanently damaged the country because even though he was found guilty, there's still going to be people activating for him. There's still going to be people believing his story, saying that just because it was a white judge that he was found guilty. No, it wasn't a judge that found him guilty. It was a jury of his peers. So what is this country coming to, guys? I don't know. But always remember this. At the end of the day, no matter what, we only have one judge. Again, guys, if you like this content, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button. Hit the share button every now and then and drop a comment. Let me know what you think. My name is Andrew Alvarez. Visit me on the LatinoConservative.com. Thank you for visiting. God bless.